Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So, we got a little boost today. Could it be you have a billionaire that goes mad for Bitcoin? And no, I'm not talking about Michael Saylor. Someone else came out today and said basically his entire holding, liquid holding, is Bitcoin. So let's talk about this and let's talk about what else is going on in the world of crypto today. Let's do this. Welcome. Look at that. Got a little boost today. Finally, above 26 again. We were hovering below 25, right? It got a little FUD-ish. I told you guys to ignore the FUD. We got a little boost today, so that's good overall. Obviously, there's still some macro factors at play right now. I'll talk more about that in the morning. But tonight, I want to talk about Bitcoin and this billionaire. This guy right here, Mexican billionaire Richard Salinas. I think that's how you say it. Let's play this little clip. Okay, this is a nice little clip. Let's listen to this right now. Okay, let me prepare my audio. Okay, here we go.
In the liquid part of the portfolio, I now opted to, I basically just have Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, 4 or 5 miners, some oil companies, and some gold miners. In the liquid part of the portfolio, I now opted to, I basically just have Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, 4 or 5 miners.
Okay, so he's laughing because he's thinking about when he's going to turn into a trillionaire, because he's all in on Bitcoin. So I mean, basically, his liquid portfolio is made up of Bitcoin, and he said he upped it. MicroStrategy, which is basically a Bitcoin play right now, right? And then you got 4 or 5 Bitcoin miners. Of course, they're all Bitcoin plays as well. I bet oil companies, gold miners, they're commodity. I bet, they're relatively small compared to his Bitcoin holding, MicroStrategy holding, and 5 Bitcoin miner holdings, right? So there you have it. Now we have another billionaire that is going mad for Bitcoin. And we just hear about this so much these days, right? Back in 2017, you just didn't really hear anything. I lived through 2017. It was all driven by retail. But now we got these gigantic, enormous, wealthy institutions and individuals that are going all gung-ho about Bitcoin. Okay, so in case you're wondering, according to Wikipedia, this guy, back in 2021, he was worth $13.6 billion, okay? The funny thing is, even at that time with $13.6 billion, he's still the 172nd richest person, right? You would figure $13.6 billion, you're like, you're probably top 50 or top 30. No, he's top 200. That just shows you how insanely wealthy some people really are. Okay, and who knows? Maybe that number has gone up now, right? In 2 years later. But regardless, yeah, you got a lot of billionaires that keep on stacking Bitcoin. This is what I've been telling you guys. All these large OTC purchases, the ones that we see, you see like this massive $1 billion of the Bitcoin flow out of Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken. Where do you think it's going? It's going to these guys. These guys are holding it, on some ledger or a custodian or wherever, but they're all buying behind the scenes, and they're doing it in a way where we don't really see it. It doesn't really affect the order books. We don't see Bitcoin pump every time these guys are buying because they're smart. They don't want Bitcoin to go up. They want time to accumulate as much as possible, right? And that's the same mentality that we should have as retail investors. Accumulate as much as possible within our terms, right? Whatever you can afford, whatever your financial situation is, right? So that we don't let all these big boys take up everything. I mean, that's honestly what it comes down to, because they're catching on and more of them are coming in. So you don't want to give up all your Bitcoins to them. You don't want to transfer your life-changing wealth to them. Certainly, they don't need it more than you, okay? They just have more patience. That's what it comes down to. A lot more money, yes, and a lot more patience. Because they could just buy and hold and DCA forever. While retail investors panic over any sudden little FUD that comes out on news, right? That's the reality. So that's why, look at this. Number of hodled or lost coins. Do you see that coming down? No. It just keeps on going up. It doesn't stop. It just keeps on going up, right? So bottom line is you don't want all these guys, okay? You don't want all the big boys to take up everything. You want to keep some for yourself, okay? And these guys, they're among the smartest guys on the planet. That's why they're billionaires, right? And why are they accumulating? Because they know Bitcoin is the future. It's unstoppable at this point. It's the only true decentralized network out there that can't be stopped by any government or entity, right? And it's the greatest store of value that we have on the planet. That's why. Now, someone else, this is kind of interesting. Someone else has been looking at the 4-year cycle, right? And we talk about 4-year cycle all the time. And these big boys, they're getting ready for the 4-year cycle too, because they know 2024 and 2025 are going to be big. 2024 is the halving event. 2025 is the bullish year, right? But then someone looked at it and pinpointed this specific date, November 28th. November 28th. And it's interesting because he went all the way back and realized that November 28th is either the bottom point or the top of every cycle. And is it by coincidence or what? He believes he cracked the code. It has nothing to do with coincidence. That's just the way it is. And it's very uncanny if you look at it. Okay, our bottom, our current bottom, or this last bottom that we had, November 28th, 2022, when we hit like 15,000, right? Our previous top, 69,000, right? And then you have all these other ones. So there's this, well, the tops are not on November 28th, but the kind of like the low point, well, the point where it starts turning upwards, that's November 28th. But the bottoms also correlate with November 28th. Anyways, there's a lot to do with November 28th. And he wrote this very, 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 very long tweet, right? But bottom line is this. If we follow the same pattern, okay, when do we start rallying up in a big way, right? According to this, well, it'll be November 28th of 2024, right? If we're following the same kind of pattern and it repeats, right? But I would argue, and that's not a bad prediction because next year's halving event is in April, right? So it's just a few months afterwards. But I would argue this cycle is going to be different, a lot more explosive. You know why? Because, first of all, we're going to have a rate cut, okay, in the U.S. That's fantastic. That's going to spur up economic activity. We're going to have a presidential election. Yes, we have the halving event, of course, but we also have Bitcoin spot ETFs coming. So that's why next year is going to be absolutely explosive, right? So will we start rallying November 28th? By that point, I think, yes, we will be back, probably back to 69,000. And that is the point when we start really going upwards towards 100,000. But I think we get some explosiveness even before then. Okay. But it's quite interesting, this November 28th theory. And this is also interesting. Plan B put this out. It's funny how everyone buys at 60,000 and wants to FOMO in. But no one wants to buy at 20,000 or even 30,000, right? See that? As funny and silly as that sounds, it's correct. Retail investors, what do they like to do? They like to FOMO. They like to FOMO when everyone else is FOMOing. So if Bitcoin's back up to 60,000, that's when people buy in, okay? But somehow it doesn't work in reverse. No one FOMOs or panic buys on the way down or when we are near bottom or at bottom. People always think that we'll go lower, right? So the easiest way to get around this problem is just a DCA. Set a schedule and DCA. That way you take emotions out of it. You take guessing game out of it. You just DCA over a long haul. That way you take the FOMO part out, and you also don't have to guess the bottom because too many people always try to wait until they're absolutely sure it's the absolute bottom before they purchase. But guess what? No one really knows, right? Bitcoin will hit a bottom and then it comes back up. It's really that simple. But that's exactly true. But anyways, this is exactly the opposite of what billionaires do. And billionaires just buy when they think it's a good opportunity, and they buy over long haul. They DCA over long haul, right? That is the right strategy, and that's what we all need to follow. So there you go. All right. Now, outside of Bitcoin, there's actually a lot of exciting news. Let's talk about Ripple. Last time I showed my most educational video about XRP and Ripple just shot up to the moon. Okay, so I can't play it today. Don't ask me to play it because every time I play it, it pumps up XRP. But because of their win recently, now an IPO might be around the corner. Okay, the CTO thinks that, by the time they have their NYC party, they will announce their IPO. And that would be absolutely huge. Really, really big if Ripple goes IPO. If that's the case and they actually fundraise with that, then they really don't need to sell XRP anymore, right? It changes their business model completely. So that's why I think it could be a game changer for them. Now, they do still have this lawsuit against the SEC, or the SEC has a lawsuit against them. They need to resolve that before this happens. But if they go IPO, it will be absolutely huge. But in the meantime, trading volume is exploding right now. Yesterday, I covered about SBI. SBI is going to start using XRP for settlements across countries. And they are a large investor, too, of many, many banks that could be possibly using XRP as well, right? But look at this. Average daily volume in August. That's like 4 times as high as Solana and BNB and Doge and Litecoin and Matic. I mean, it's a lot of volume. That's a lot of volume. So overall, it's pretty good. Pretty good for XRP. Also, I saw this. This is a pretty big move. A lot of people have given up on ApeCoin, who ApeCoin was distributed by Yuga Labs, right? And they are the ones behind Bored Apes, Mutant Apes. They bought CryptoPunks, the rights to them, and they, they're huge in NFTs. But NFTs obviously have taken a fall. But now they're making some big hires. They hired one of the main executives, okay, from Activision Blizzard, which you guys all know, right? Activision, they're the ones behind Call of Duty, Blizzard behind Diablo 4 and StarCraft, right, and World of Warcraft. Huge, huge gaming company. And Activision Blizzard just got bought out by Microsoft, too. But anyways, he's joining Yuga Labs as CEO. And he's not the only hire. Just recently, Yuga Labs also pulled someone from Epic Games to become the new CTO, right? So they're getting real serious about their metaverse efforts. The Other Side metaverse game is still not out, but they want to make sure they get all the right people in place. So that could be absolutely huge. Okay, so pretty big hire. They must have paid them a ton to come over to be CEO. All right, outside of those things, SBS former partner, co-CEO, I've never heard of this guy before. What's his name? Ryan Salami. Basically, he's going to plead. He's going to plead guilty to charges of fraud relating to the downfall of the crypto exchange and legally donating over $20 million worth of stolen funds to the Republican Party. So not only did he commit fraud, but he stole 20 million donated. So this looks really bad for SBF because if his co-CEO admitted to doing this, what is he gonna say? That he had no idea that this guy did it, right? He had no idea what was going on. It's just unbelievable, right? So not looking good for SBF. And then lastly, no surprise, we know that Stake, the gambling platform, they were just hacked by 441 million, and now the FBI says it's due to North Korea's Lazarus Group, and they're the ones behind all the major hacks that we have seen. You know, FBI blamed them for the Harmony Bridge hack. Also blamed them for the Ronin Bridge for Axie Infinity. Basically, every large hack in crypto was done by these guys right here. And they're making a lot of money by doing so. So, unfortunately, you got to watch out because these guys are going after all the big players. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me see. I know I'm competing against Thursday Night Football right now, but the number of people tuned in still pretty good, around 2,000. Strawberry Gary. Pepe will do a negative 200x from here. Did Pepe go down more? I mean, let's see here. I bet it's okay. 316 million. That's as low as I've seen for a while. You're better off with Doge or Sheeb if you're going to speculate on meme coins. That is true. Let's see. AC says, I've been panic buying for 3 years. Congratulations. You will be rewarded for that soon enough. Let's get rid of 1 hour. Saw me on Wagman Games promo video. Really? Did they put out a promo video? I didn't see it. Plowman? No, it's Plowman, right? Plowman. I can't tell you how rich I am. Just know that I'm pretty well off. Let's just put it that way. I'm doing fine for myself. Travis, who's DCing through this downturn? I think most people watching are. That's why they're watching. Because they know this is the right way. This is the way, as the Mandalorian would say. Right? This is the way because you really can't guess day to day, right? You really can't. But long term, you see a pattern, right? You see what Bitcoin does every single cycle. And to take the guessing and the emotions out of it, you just DCA. That's really it. Willy Wonka, it's more than that. Pepe for emotional distress. I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. If you want more emotional distress, you should buy Pepe. But if you want less, you don't want to be holding Pepe. Yeah, so I told you guys I put it in the description already, and you know what? I should just put it into the. Oops. I'm gonna put the link to the show. So if you want to watch a show immediately, you could go to distro.tv and find it. I pinned it to the live chat. I also have it in the description, right? There's been an enormous amount of volume, so much so that the app can't really even handle it. But it was released on the app first. Now, major distribution like cable and everything, it's going to come a little bit later. I heard it was actually October 2nd. But in the meantime, you can watch the show. It'll come out every week. You can download that app on your phone or play it on the computer or play it on any streaming device, right? The first episode, a little boring because it was an intro episode, but at least you saw the contestants and the first 3 that were picked. And then the 4th one will come up. And then, trust me, once the episodes start rolling, you guys will really enjoy it. The contestants or the projects, they go through a lot of tests, so to speak, okay? So it's not like a one and done deal. They go through challenges and tests, and they're quite difficult. They're quite difficult. Astrological Ether. What wallet do you store your Cardano on? Right now, 0. I don't store it on anything. But I heard Koala Wallet is pretty good. So you might want to check it out. You want another South Park episode? SBF Adventures? Maybe I can make another SBF Adventures. The last one didn't do so well, but maybe I could do another one. I mean, it fits because of the trial and everything. Man, I gotta get my. I gotta talk to the editor. The link works. It does. The link works. I just checked both of them. Incognito, I appreciate that. Michael, no, I'm not gonna get that graphic. No. Have you heard of GFAL, founder or CEO, Electronic Arts, found in Madden? Someone brought it up before. I never looked into it, so no. But I should, if that's the case. Sounds interesting. Whenever you have a big executive leading a project, relatively small. Games for a Living. I gotta say, that's a horrible name. I don't even get it. Games for Life or something would make more sense. Game for a Living? That makes no sense to me. Or Gamers for Life. You could still do that. I mean, again, that's just a weird name. TI, That's what I do. Thoughts on PayPal USD on Coinbase? I mean, it shows PayPal is big enough to force that upon Coinbase. Coinbase is supporting USDC completely. I thought it was a weird move for them to list PayPal's stablecoin. But outside of that, nothing really. I don't know. It's not like you're going to make money by buying a stablecoin. Alex, I appreciate that. I'm not gonna speculate on Ben Coin. So that's Ben's thing. So you ask him. If you want an opinion on it, you should ask him for his opinion. Favorite AMG? The G63. I've been waiting for the G63 to come down in price. And it just doesn't happen. And it's come down very little, but still, the used ones are still selling for huge money. And Mercedes dealerships, I should say, still very cocky and wants to charge over MSRP on them. And I hate that. Hello to all the people from Nepal. G63 is not cringy. That's a manly car. That's a man's car. I saw someone ride a G63 up a mountain better than a Jeep. They just like went all out, full throttle, and they climbed this mountain that should not be climbed with a $200,000 SUV, but they did it. It was nuts. It's so capable, yet 99.999% of the people that buy that car will never put it to the test, obviously, because it's so expensive, but it is extremely capable SUV. It has 3 lockers: front differential, mid differential, and rear differential lockers. I mean, it's crazy. Troy says, I think BTC should have had 180K last cycle, but due to the virus in China ban, it was suppressed. With institutions on the way, do you think Bitcoin will blow past 180 up to 1 million this cycle? No, I think you're a little bit too... I think your estimates are a little bit too high. Okay, and I'm one of the most bullish guys. I think last cycle, we definitely would have crushed 100K, right? We were at 70K. We had 1 month left. We could have crushed 100K. And it's an even 6-figure digit number, right? But we didn't it was because the Fed announced their rate hikes. So that's when it started coming down. Now, this next one, I do believe we will settle. I think conservatively, we'll settle between 150 and 200. So I would say like right around 180, like you said, conservatively. But because of everything that's happening next year, you got the halving event, you got the presidential election. If you look it up, presidential election years are always fantastic for stock. And it's no coincidence that rate cuts are coming next year. And spot Bitcoin ETFs, which will bring billions upon billions of liquidity into the space. You know, you got a lot of things happening in 2024. Who knows how high it'll be by the end of next year? Maybe we're back to 69,000. Maybe we're up to 100,000 by the end of next year. Then the year after that, that's when it gets real serious. We got a full year. And also, this cycle, as far as I know, is the only cycle where the fundamentals never dropped. For example, like this. the number of hodled coins, the addresses, the hash rate, long-term holders, exchange reserves. They're basically all at all-time highs. So the fundamentals of Bitcoin has never been this good, despite the fact we're nowhere close of reaching the top or in the parabolic cycle, because normally those things go up in the parabolic cycle. So, I mean, this next cycle could be way crazier than people expect. Because of diminishing returns, I think a lot of people are trying to be conservative and say, hey, we're not going to go that high. Maybe we only go to 100,000, 150,000. I think, when FOMO hits. And now the fiat on-ramp, off-ramps, the number of exchanges and brokerages and financial apps that allow people and institutions to FOMO in now there's way more systems now than before. I mean, this next cycle could be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, all right, I'll let you guys get back to your football. Overall, we got another billionaire that went all in on Bitcoin. All right, now it's not just Michael Saylor. There's so many billionaires that are FOMOing in because they know what's coming, okay? They know what's coming, so you guys should follow. I'm following. I'm DCing over the long haul. When it comes to investing in Bitcoin, that's what it takes. So stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll see what Friday brings. All right. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.